Welcome back. We're ready to open our Dreamweaver program and start a new site. First thing we want to do when we ever start any site is to go to Site and New Site. And that way Dreamweaver can do all the organizing and we don't have to worry about missing links and all that kind of good stuff. So our new site is going to be called Art2M, just something that you can recognize here. And then I'm going to navigate to that new site, which is on my desktop in my sites folder, Art2M, and I'm going to say choose and then save. If I'm looking at my files panel over here, I should see my Art2M folder and all that stuff that we had in it, the Myers Reset, one of them, and then all of our images are here, and we don't need to worry about the workers. In fact, when we're talking about the workers, right now, just so that this doesn't get published, I'm going to select it and go up to this flyout menu. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to right click on this so you can see it. I'm going to right click or control click, and I'm going to go to, let's see, it's in here somewhere. Cloaking, and you can't see it because it's off the screen, but it just says cloak. So cloaking and cloak, and I get a line through it, which means the folder is fine, but when I start uploading this to my remote server, it won't take that folder and all the the large files that are in there. Only the files that are needed to make the website I want to upload. Okay, so next we're going to make a new, so file new. We are going to choose blank page, HTML, none, HTML5. We're going to attach the CSS by clicking this little link right here, and then we're going to browse to it, and here it is right here, Eric Myers, or the Myers Reset Revise, and say open, and say OK, and say OK, and say create, and boom. We'll go to the split view. So right now we can see that our reference to the Myers link is a long one, but it's there. And as soon as we save this document, that will become a relative link. So it's going to pop right out of wherever the document is saved and say, hey, it's the Eric Myers Reset right here, and sure enough, there it'll be. So the first thing I really want to do, and I try to make a habit of this, is to title the page right now before I save it, and that way I don't forget to do it later. If I don't do it now, I always forget to do it, and then somebody's going to open the web page and it's going to say Untitled Document at the top, and that's not good. So we're going to call this Bruce White, and this is his home page, so we'll call it Home. Alright, and when I hit enter, you can see my title was changed right here, and now I'm going to file save, and because this is the home page, I'm going to call it index HTML. It's going to find this folder. If we set up the site right, it should go right to it and save. So here it is over here, and now I can see how shortened this link is, because now it's relative. My Myers Reset Revise CC is right next door to this one, so it's very short. Okay, we did that. We saved the page. We're going to open the Word doc now. We're going to bring in all the text. So I'm going to go to the design site here, and then my Word document is in the site, inside of here, inside of the workers folder, and it's right here. So if I double click that, here it is open over here. Let me make this smaller. And this is all the text that goes on the page. And you're going to get text from all kinds of sources. It might be email, it might be text docs, you might get Word documents in this case. None of them are really easy to deal with, but I can show you something that might help. If you have a Word document, select all the text. I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to go back over here to my Dreamweaver document, click out here in the design view, and instead of saying paste, I'm going to actually do a paste special, okay? And paste special will bring up this dialog box. Now the one I find that works the best for pages from Word that are styled is this one right here. Give me the text with basic structure plus formatting. Okay, basic stuff. So number 3 from the top, if you can remember that one, that'll be good. And just say okay. Now there wasn't a whole lot of styling going on here, but it did retain some of it, which is okay. At any rate, if it just comes in a big pile of text, then you're just going to have to carefully go through it, sort it out, and make sure that everything gets changed into what it's supposed to be. And that's what we're going to do next. We're going to, well, first, I guess before we do that, we're going to go to the page properties and set some stuff up. When I go to page properties, it's actually going to write some CSS for me. And I'm going to go to the appearances section right here. And I'm going to say, overall, here's what I want. I want my font overall now to be Arial. Now I can change this because Cascading Style Sheets will let me change it as I go down and become more specific. But overall I want the whole site to be done in Arial. The second thing is I want the text color to be white. So I'll pick that. I want my background to be black. But more than that, I want my background to have an image in it. So I'm going to change that image right now. I'm going to browse right to, you know what, I'm not going to do this yet because it will get too cluttery. So I'm going to say cancel that. But eventually I'm going to put that image back there. If I hit apply, you'll see that we can see this still, and it'll help me with my formatting. But we'll get into the image selection anyway. And that's it. I'm going to say OK. And then if I look at my styles, right in here, now I have 2 new styles. This one, which changed the text to white and the font family to the Arial Helvetica stack, and the other one here that changed the background color to black. Alright? Now I'm just going to go through here, and basically I'm going to look at, oops, that's where I wanted to go. Hard to believe, but it is. I'm going to look at this and see what I want to style all this text as. I'm going to call this my H1. I'm going to call this style my H2 and this my H3, and the rest will be paragraph style. Okay? So anything this size is going to get an H3, an H2, and an H1. So my first H1 is unique design, blah, 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 blah. This is not part of my text, so I'm just going to select it and delete it. In this case, I'm going to add a little space after here. I'm going to select this text, and then I'm going to come down to paragraph, format, and I'm going to choose heading 1, and it will do that. Okay? The word style, remember, is an H2 over here, so I'm going to make a little space here. I am going to go to paragraph and make that an H2. Alright, and this can stay as a paragraph tag. If I continue on down, the next big thing, oh, wait a second, I have different text. Which is going to be, this is definitely going to be an H3, so I'm going to go to H3. Now these can always be changed, but let me show you what's going on in the code view of this. When I change this style, instead of a P tag, it's changed it to H2 tag. And for my heading here, it's done the same thing. It's made an H1 tag. And the reason I'm doing this is so I have a different selector that I can go then and write a rule for and modify so that they look consistent on the page. Alright, here we go again. I have all of these pretty much sorted out here. I can always change them later. It's not a big deal. I'm going to come down to the bottom here and select this and copy it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a link to the school website. No, to the map. Why not to the map? Okay, so I'm going to go over here to, there we go, and we'll just go to Google Maps, paste that in, hit return, and there we go. So I'm going to take this whole thing up here. This is the new Google Maps, and we'll talk about the difference between the two of them. And I'm going to copy that whole URL. And I'm going to come back over here. And with this selected, I'm going to go to the links and paste it. And then I'm going to hit return. Now it gave it that familiar blue with the blue underline thing. And in my code, you can see how long that URL really was. Big long one, okay? Anyway, so that will make it a link to that page. Now I don't want, if somebody's on my page, I don't want them to leave the page. So I really want to make this link open in another page. That way they're more likely to come back than if it just changes the whole page too. So my target page for this link is going to be blank. And that will make it open in a new page. And we'll try that in a minute so you can see it. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this email to my email address here, and we'll see how this works. So we're going to call this Bruce at somewhere.com. Okay, and then when I enter it, it's going to get that same link look. But that's just the email address. If you wanted to actually email it to somebody, it has to say mail to. So mail to and then a colon, and that's what makes it mail to. Now, should you ever do this in your own website? No, you should not, because putting this email address, even though it's not showing on this page, but making this email address available in your website leaves it vulnerable to spam bots. A spam bot is just like one of those robots that goes out and from Google to find out about web pages, so that when you type in "show me how to cook a hamburger," something will come up. A spam bot does the same thing, only it does it for nefarious purposes, such as sending out a bunch of email that you don't want. So this is not a good practice, and I'm going to show you how to do this another way so that you can do an email me link, but you won't get spam so much on the next movie.